turning our attention now to electricity. Yes, it's one of the key focus of this government and how they said that they intend to ensure we have uninterrupted power supply sooner rather than later. It's all stipulated there in the manifesto. But this morning, we're joined by Mr. Joshua Mukan, who is the chairman, Duncan Hydroelectric Company. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
We've actually been looking at different aspects of this power sector to see what do they need to do in which area to ensure that they meet up with the targets that the government has given. You are with the hydroelectric session. We have, I think, over 80%, no, it's 20. Between 20–30% of our power generation in this country is hydro. What do we need to do in that area to ensure that at least hydro meets up to the installed capacity?
Well, I'm happy to be back here after 1.5 years.
And I hope it's good news.
Nothing has changed much in hydroelectric.
Nothing?
Not much, because...
But we have a lot of investment there, haven't we?
Yes, we have existing plans like the Kainji, Jeba, Shiroro, and then Kashumbila, which is in Taraba State, which should generate about between 30 and 38 megawatts, which I guess must be commissioned any time from now. That is, if it has not been commissioned. I know the former president was to commission it just before his tenure ended, but I'm not too sure whether it has been done now. And since then, I don't think we have had any hydroelectric power plant commissioned.
Since Mambila?
Yes, well, Mambila is at the stage of being developed.
Okay, but
and then you have Zungeru also being developed.
So how much, if you just give us that sense of it, how much installed capacity do we have of our hydro plants and how much are we currently generating? All of them combined, could you remember?
Not really, because one thing with hydro is seasonal, and you know they are located in the northern part of this country.
I was going to ask,
yes.
all the names you just rolled out in the north.
In the dry season, the output is different. In the rainy season, the output is different, because you can only generate during dry season with that water that is in your reservoir, and most of our plants, hydro plants, were built in the late 50s, 60s, and 70s. Believe me, Chamberlain, the dams are silting very, very fast. They are silted. So, but I'm not in a position to say what the owners of this particular plants are doing about desilting those plants now. You take, for instance, you go to somewhere like Bauchi, Gombe State. There's a plant there that should be commissioned very soon now. That in Kowa, I think, should be generating like 30 to 35 megawatts. And the capacity of that reservoir is 3 billion cubic meters of water. But you would see a large expanse of water, but it's silted. So the depth may not be that too wonderful. So now that these plants have been privatized, the new owners are likely to look into desilting some of these dams. That is the good part of it. The first hydroelectric power in West Africa, or let's say in Nigeria or West Africa, which is Nigerian Electricity Supply Company, NESCO, a company, an IPP in Jos. I mean, the first was in 1919. So by 2019, it will be 100 years old.
As old as that?
Yes, yes. That's how long hydropower lasts. Minimum age of 100 years, maximum age of 150 years.
Well, I do know that, the last time you were here, you advocated very strongly for more investment in hydro, saying that it's a lot cheaper and it lasts a lot longer than thermal. You said thermal is easy to put together, but the cost of running it is very high, if I remember what you said clearly as at that time. Has your viewpoint changed, considering now that quite a number of investors are interested in supplying gas to the system?
No, the initial investment cost of hydro is very high. It's almost 3 times that of thermal. But the longevity of thermal is almost 1/5 of hydro. So while thermal lasts for 15, 20 years, hydro lasts for 100 and 150 years. So if you spread that initial high cost of hydro investment at the beginning, which most of it comes in from the dam construction, that constitutes 75% of your total project cost. I mean, you find out that at the long run, hydro ends up being cheaper than thermal. Now, the problem with thermal, like Ahmed mentioned the other time, is that the major component of thermal is gas. And gas is produced by the oil companies. I mean, so the price of gas is not controlled locally. It's controlled by international market. That's number one. Number two, it is not the thermal companies that own the gas producing companies. So even the thermal companies do not have control over the gas availability. But you see in hydro, like in our own case, the dam, we would be in charge of the dam, checking the integrity of the dam, making sure that everything works perfectly.
All the factors are within your control.
Apart from prayers to God that let there be rain. That's all.
Can we then say that, in other words, the hydro plants have no business generating below capacity?
Well, like I told you, during rainy season, yes, you can say so, because there's enough water coming down. But during dry season, in the north, especially from October to April, there are no rains. So you just depend on the amount of water that is available in the reservoir to generate.
In other words, this kind of relief we already experience or experiencing now in the country, in so many neighborhoods, they have, well, a bit of an improvement in electricity supply to their homes and factories and offices. Can we attribute this to the amount of rain that we are seeing now?
Yeah, like Ahmed mentioned 1.5 years ago, if you observe carefully, every year, I mean, from June to October, the level of electricity improves. Indeed, but please don't quote me. When government officials want to tell you things will pick up, they will tell you, wait till July, you will see power improvement. Now, the reason for that is because all the hydro plants will be operating at maximum capacity at that point in time.
For so many young Nigerians and even loads of Nigerians, what they know about hydro is one big name, Kainji. Tell us the state of Kainji, if you will.
I think Kainji Dam must have been privatized
Not as old as that in Jos, in Plateau State. Kainji Dam.
No. Like Ahmed mentioned, I guess Kainji, Siroro, and Jeba have been privatized. They have new owners now. And I don't know much about Kainji Dam, but I know it's the largest power generation plant we have in hydro right now.